like to call my first witness for the defense for the day is acclaimed cinema screenwriter and film director Nicholas Meyer.
I co-wrote and directed Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. I co-wrote and directed Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And I co-wrote but did not direct Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, which was directed by Leonard Nimoy.
When you say home in that title, what does home refer to?
Earth.
Okay. Earth. So the Star Trek gang is out in space, and their voyage in that episode, in that movie, is to Earth.
Yes.
Okay. And specifically, though, is there a location in that film where...
San Francisco. They go to San Francisco.
No.
The crew of the Enterprise returns to Earth seeking the help of humpback whales to answer a probe from outer space with a matching signal.
In Star Trek II.
Mr. Tarkington, one warning and one warning only. One more outburst, and you will be dismissed from this courtroom.
Just trying to be accurate. You also directed and wrote Star Trek II.
Yes?
Does any of that movie take place in San Francisco?
Yes, there are actually a couple of scenes that are set in San Francisco. They weren't filmed there, but the Starfleet Academy, the simulator room, those were intended to be San Francisco, and Kirk's apartment overlooks San Francisco Bay. It's a set.
Hold on.
That's what I've been saying.
No.
Mr. Tarkington.
San Francisco.
Can
No,
we?
it says Star Trek 2.
Star Trek II, the plot. You would not classify the plot of Star Trek II as being set in San Francisco.
No, what I said were that there were a couple of scenes in the movie that were set but not filmed in San Francisco.
If you were asked, a man on the street, which Star Trek movie takes place in San Francisco, your answer would be?
Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home.
Thank you. No further.
When did you first meet the defendant, Tim Heidecker?
I met him this morning, but I got a call from him around 10:30 last night.
What did he offer to pay you?
$10,000.
I have no further questions.
I have a right to call expert witnesses and pay them whatever I want. Thank you very much, Mr. Meyer. This is unbelievably generous.
One and only Manuel.
Manuel? Sissi. What is it? How do you say your last name again? Sissi?
Chusi.
Chusi, yeah.
My brother. You'll be all right.
All right, get up there.
I mean, this sounds like a joke. I mean, there is one thing that I know for sure that Tim could never do, and it's like do something bad to his fan. I mean, they mean the world to him. So I don't know what this thing is all about.
This morning, you confided something in me, some secret that you've been holding in.
Yes. I met Dr. Sen the night he hanged himself. He handed me a letter.
He handed you a letter.
Yes, he did.
And let me just state this. This is news to me. I think it's news to everybody here. Because you told me this when?
No.
This morning, yeah. This morning.
This morning. I, Dr. Sen, am only one responsible for all the death from the Electric Sun 20. It is all my fault. Tim Heidecker is innocent and is too busy writing and producing its song with the Decker and DKR, as well as its show Decker. Signed, Dr. Sen.
Signed, Dr. Sen. Thank you.
Do you consider yourself to be a devout Roman Catholic?
Yes.
I have one question for you. Who wrote the letter? I want to remind you that a few minutes ago, you took an oath and you swore before God that you would tell the truth. I'm going to ask you now one more time. Who wrote the letter? Please answer the question, sir.
Tim gave it to me this morning.
Okay.
I have no further questions.
Both the people and the defense have presented their evidence. At this point, both the people and the defense are entitled to give you closing arguments.
The Electric 20. Kids from our community who were killed by this individual. In my 30 years as a prosecutor for San Bernardino County, I have never seen such a heinous crime and such a tragedy. My heart bleeds for these people. Luther Sanchez, Dr. San. What a joke. Didn't even have a medical degree, no medical background whatsoever. Conspired with this individual to manufacture, market, and produce these vape pens, which the medical examiner of San Bernardino County testified contain toxic chemicals. Chemicals that were found in the body of not one, not two, not three, not four, but all of these kids. Please. See that justice is done. Convict this individual. And God will smile upon you. I thank you for your time.
No. I'm not a guy that likes to lay blame quickly and haphazardly. I do want to just say I've been a couple days here this week. I brought in a can of Sprite, and the reason I did that was I'm trying not to drink coffee, and I thought that the Sprite would give me a little pep, a little caffeine. And on the fourth day or something, somebody says, "Hey, you know the Sprite's caffeine free," so that didn't work. And so if you saw me sort of nodding off or anything, I should have gone with Coke, which has caffeine. We have heroin in the blood of one of our. Is he still in here? No. We had some people out of that 20 who didn't even die from the vape pen. So that opens the question: did anybody die from the vape pen? That's sort of our first question mark, and we'll just put question marks. They don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. They are the ones responsible for answering these questions. They're not asking the question, what is the China connection? What connects these chemicals from Shanghai, from K2? One of the star performers who is sworn testimony confirms that I don't have his testimony in front of me right here, but the gist of the confession is he had a good time. Or we have Dr. San's confession. Why does a person kill themselves, right? A lot of people are depressed, a lot of people have bad relationships and they just feel like there's no point. But some people kill themselves because they know they did something so wrong that they can't live with themselves. And that's the case of Dr. San. And we have his letter, which is up for dispute. That's for you guys. You guys are smart. You can figure it out. Some people think my friend Manuel made it up. I don't. I happen to believe my friend. We have the testimony of one of the great directors of all time. He's up there with Hitchcock and the rest, directing Star Trek II, confirming that the testimony of Mr. Turkington was nothing but a bunch of baloney. That Mr. Turkington has no expertise, so anything he says in this courtroom, and he said a lot, should be thrown out with the baby with the don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But in this case, his testimony was, what is my relationship to the events of that night? I was playing music, something I love. We already have testimony that it was being played all night. Empty bottle, empty bottle, empty bottle, empty bottle. Just a man at the scene of the crime. It was just a man at the scene of the crime. A little bit like Mark Pryor. Who was there? Just a man at the scene of the crime. Is Mark Pryor on trial? Almost like he comes up. I said, "Hey, can I help you?" He says, "I just want to thank you for throwing this festival. And if anything should happen to me, I can tell by the way you're behaving today, by the way you've handled things so far, is that it could never have been you. And that's sworn testimony. That's from my memory. I'm on the record now. And he said, but if something does happen to me, I want you to use my memory to start to do something good, do something positive. And that's, like I said, I want to start the Electric Sun 20 Music Foundation. I am so humbled to be able to present my case to you, and I'm confident that you'll make the right choice. Find me innocent on all accounts. Let me get back to doing the good work that I've been put on this planet to do by God. And one more time for Judge.
This case is now in your hands. Let me remind you, the burden is on the prosecution, on the people, to prove every element of the offense beyond a reasonable doubt.
That was one thing I wanted to add.
Mr.
Sorry.
Heidecker,
I'm sorry, but
Mr. Heidecker, you're done.
Thank you.
I will now excuse you to the jury room. We are in recess.